At the end of the day, all we have is our ability to earn. Your earning power is what separates you from the animals. So we're going to talk today, we're going to do a deep dive into how to earn with expenses, and then we're going to do another deep dive into how to earn without expenses, and we're going to talk about how to make a profit in either scenario. So grab your cup of coffee, get a tea, get a muffin, like and subscribe to this channel. Let's do a deep dive for single parents on ways to earn. 10 ways to earn without expenses. Sonia Gallen-Kamenika here, SoniaGallen-Kamenika.com, and the author of 10 Things I Wish I Knew as a Single Parent. So the first and most obvious way, of course, is what happened during the pandemic, and people began to work from home, with the exception of medical professionals, police, fire department, things like that. But working from home remotely is one of the best ways to earn without expenses. You might eat a lot more than you normally would, but you can definitely earn without expenses. With the exception, you might have to invest in the internet, a phone, that sort of thing. Otherwise, the majority of your expenses are going to be your normal ones. You're buying groceries, things you're already paying for anyway. And then you'd probably get some sort of a subsidy from the company that you're working with. So working from home remotely is a great way to work without having expenses. Number 2, working in a specialized field. That could be anything. That could be anything from plumber to electrician to doctor to lawyer, construction, landscape, anything, any specialized field that allows you the freedom to work when you choose to and minimize your expenses, because many times these expenses are passed on to the employer, or you can pass them on to the client. So working in a specialized field, having skills actually helps you to have fewer expenses, or finding a way to write off those expenses. Number 3, what many people do, they work for corporations. One of the things I've done to no longer be a single parent and broke was to work in transportation and deliver vehicles for various corporations. So working for a corporation has many perks. Sometimes it's not the greatest experience, but when you work for a company, you might get a company vehicle. They might give you a fuel card. You might have all your expenses paid for as you travel. So working for corporations can be very positive. Some of the disadvantages, obviously, is that everyone's kind of a number. You're all kind of just getting the same system, the same routine, but you have things, when things are the same, that means you have guaranteed increases for your raises, you have guaranteed rules for your per diem, and a lot of good things can happen. So working for a corporation is a great way to eliminate your expenses. The next great way, number 4, work for the government. This is what a lot of people do, a lot of our senators and so forth, where almost everything is paid for. And when you're talking about per diem, it's probably top of the line. And a per diem is like your daily allowance. In addition to your salary, you get these little perks, whether it's for meals or things like that. And the benefits, like I mentioned in number 3, working for a corporation, work for the government, a lot of times they have little cafeterias and things like that, which definitely saves on your expenses. And you can probably deduct a lot of things. You have a lot of holidays that are off. So working for the government can be very beneficial. I mean, obviously, if you're working as a representative, a senator, things like that, you've got an amazing amount of benefits there. So, and you probably get some sort of housing increases and discounts and things of that nature. So working for the government is definitely a great way to not have expenses. Another great way, number 5, is working for the university, because the university will also help pay for your education. So that can be dynamic. And if you're teaching at the university, you're a professor or something, you might not start out with a great income, but you will eventually probably have tenure. So tenure means after you've worked for the company for a period of time or work for the university, you are going to have guaranteed work. You could never be fired. You're going to have tenure. So, and you don't have to necessarily be a professor. You can work in any different field and still get your education included. A lot of great things come from working for universities. You might have your summers off. So great things. Look into university as well. No expenses, or your expenses will be covered. Always a great thing. Probably the best way to work with no expenses is to work for your family business. And I don't know about you, But most people who work for their family businesses probably have a lot more perks than they would ever get in any other way. And every expense is deductible, of course. So whether it's for your clothing, because you have to go out and present to various people on the board or whatever, but working in your family business is probably a great way to not have expenses. I've hired my family members and they typically don't pay for anything. We're paying for their lunches, we're paying for their fuel. They're getting a lot of perks working for a family business. So working for a family business is definitely a great way to have no expenses. Another exciting thing, especially fresh out of college, 10 ways to earn without expenses, is to intern. Intern for a company with a stipend. There are companies that will pay you to learn something, whatever that might be. I know that even the FBI, CIA, they recruit, which is working for the government, they recruit you in college. So there's a lot of fields where they will give you a stipend to be an intern and to learn from them while you're in college or not. So there's a lot of great stuff out there. You really just got to do a deep dive and look for it, and you will find what you need to work and not have expenses. That was number 7, interning. Number 8, partner with a company. Maybe you are the managing partner, so you would have no expenses, and you have somebody else who is the financial partner, so they're taking care of all the expenses. So if maybe you have a business and you want to still earn, you might want to partner with somebody who covers all the expenses in exchange for you managing the business. You know, the only thing you have to do is be willing to negotiate, be willing to sit down, have a conversation with somebody, and you will begin to work without expenses. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the only thing you have is your earning power, your earning ability. So do your best to keep what you are earning. Partner with people, discuss with them. My kids, when they were younger, they worked for a company called Broadway Burgers. He was the managing partner and somebody else infused the finances. It happens all the time. You just have to be open to it and have a discussion. That was number 8, partner with a company. Number 9, if you have a business and you don't want expenses, and your expenses are deducted at the end of the year, but if you're trying to minimize them, you can charge the clients for your expenses. You can just roll it all in. A lot of times you see lawyers do this. They just roll their expenses into the bill. So put it in. This is again going back to having specialized training. Roll your expenses into the cost of whatever service you are providing, and that could be medicine or whatever. And when you roll your expenses in, then you no longer have the expenses. So charge the clients for your expenses. And another really fun way, if you want to focus on a lot of education, is find grants and fellowships, and these can cover your expenses as well. If you're teaching, if you're doing certain things in academia, definitely look for grants. It can be for your business. I know every year Federal Express has like $50,000 grants. Every corporation has grants. You can have fellowships as well, where that gives you the stipend, allows you to learn, allows you to teach, and you can continue focusing on what you do best. So the 10 ways to earn without expenses. Number 1, work from home, do remote work. Number 2, work in a specialized field. Number 3, work for a corporation. Number 4, work for the government. Number 5, work for a university. Number 6, work for a family business, which is probably one of the best ways. Number 7, intern for a company with a stipend. Number 8, partner with a company. Number 9, charge clients for their expenses, or your expenses rather. And number 10, find grants and fellowships. There is stuff out there. If you look for it, I assure you, you will find it. You can probably even do a Google search. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this video, and make sure you like and subscribe. And then we're going to talk about 10 ways to earn with expenses and still make a profit. Sonia Gallion-Cominica here, SoniaGallionCominica.com, and the author of 10 Things I Wish I Knew as a Single Parent, where we talk about all things single parents and especially your finances. Have an amazing day.